Chet Humphries. I did a project for MUSL 4999, which is a senior honors thesis, with Dr. Joy Calico. My project is an assessment of Gustav Mahler's revisions to Siegfried Wagner's first opera, which was called Der Bärenhäuter. The idea came to me as I was reading biographies about Mahler and trying to learn more about who he was as an interpreter. And I realized that people had looked at Mahler's revisions of other composers, but only in depth with his revisions of big-name composers like Beethoven or Schumann. Siegfried Wagner doesn't really fall into that category. His father was Richard Wagner, probably the most famous 19th century opera composer, but Siegfried sort of slipped through the cracks of opera history. His first opera is relatively weak, but Mahler resolved to make as many changes to the opera as necessary to produce a sufficient quality final product for the audiences in Vienna in 1899. I went to the Austrian National Library to look at all of the archival sources for this production, which thankfully were extensive. They preserved just about everything. I have multiple copies of the score. I have all of the complete orchestral and vocal parts that the performers used at that production, all with Mahler's own changes marked in. And so at that point, having assessed what those changes were, the goal became to sort of ascertain why those changes were made, how they, in Mahler's view, might have improved the opera, and to what extent Mahler's own creative thumbprint was on this opera as a result of those changes. This project was created in the form of a website which has interactive score components that I built using MEI, Verovio, a bit of JavaScript, all obviously housed in HTML for the website. I have no formal computer science background, so everything that I learned in that regard for this project was entirely new to me and will help me going forward as a 21st century musicologist. I also learned quite a bit about archival research, how to deal with absolutely massive quantities of documents that are not particularly well labeled, sort of sorting through that, separating the wheat from the chaff and figuring out what exactly I had, and then piecing it together to be able to draw my conclusions from that.